Hello everybody and welcome back to Building the Enterprise D here on the channel. So in the last video we started issue 16, we had a look at stages 59 and 60. Today we're going to continue with that and do stages 61 and 62. So I'll just quickly go through what to expect in this one. So for stage 61, it's a fairly shortish stage, but we're going to build one of the underside deck panels with the escape lifeboats on them, and we're going to attach it to the saucer section as well as fitting the strobe light in there. Well, not strobe light, just a point light in there. And then we're going to do stage 62, which is a little bit more involved. We're going to add some more lights onto the saucer section, and then we are going to construct the main body of the battle section. We're going to make a start on that one, and that'll set us up nicely for issue 17, which I'm going to start building very, very shortly too, because I already actually have that one here. So, without wasting any more time, let's get straight into it. So, stage 61. So what we're doing here, and this is pretty cool, add Guinan's famous 10 forward bar to your build as you begin to fit the outer rim of the saucer, connecting the dorsal deck panels to the ventral ones. And I didn't actually know that that was where 10 forward was. I mean, I suppose it makes sense, doesn't it? Because it's called 10 forward. So you'd expect it to be at the forward section. So I've got my parts here, and this isn't a very long stage, although, considering we're fitting something to the actual saucer section, I'm kind of anticipating maybe some difficulties here. Who knows? It's hard to tell with this build sometimes. Something that seems short and simple actually ends up being the toughest part of it. Like, there was a part of the nacelle that ended up just being really, really awkward to fit. And you'd look at it and you'd be like, well, that looks really easy. But it isn't. Even putting together these panels on the skeleton, if you've been following the series, you'll have seen some of the struggles I've had with it. But that's just the same with anything kind of like this, I feel. It's something I've noticed when sort of putting together my Warhammer models. Sometimes the hardest bits are actually really easy, and what looks easy is difficult. Stunning insight from me there. So we've got a PCB here. I'll show that. That's for the next stage. We don't need to worry about that just yet. That's going to go on our hull for the battle section or star drive. But yeah, this is quite exciting now. I mean, we're building deck panels again. We know how exciting that can be, but it's cool to build them up and see it start to take shape on the bottom of the saucer. And hopefully, a few months' time, that'll all be done. I don't know how many it's going to take. It does look like quite a few. So what we take the deck panel L3, L310, we set it up like that. I'll drop you on the floor there. And it's just putting these on. So the red line should be furthest away from the concave edge of the panel. So we're just gonna slot these in, and these are always quite satisfying to pop in. So yeah, how's everyone doing? It's not been that long since I last saw you. In fact, I recorded the first 2 stages of this last night. I'm recording these in the afternoon the next day. Kind of wanted to get it all done and stocked up. I mentioned in the video that I recorded last time that I'm actually away at my parents' a week after recording this. So I've got quite a few videos sort of lined up already. We've got these 2 Enterprise videos, and we've got a video looking at the video game Parasite Eve, which is the second part of my Games I've Wanted to Play series. I don't know what the order of the videos going out will be, so the Parasite Eve one might go out before these, or it might go out after. It might even go out in between. I'm going to try and get to my schedule again of every Monday for a video, but I'm also going to try and change up how I do the Enterprise videos a little bit, and maybe do them in two, like every video covers 2 stages, because I'm noticing it's taking me about half an hour to 40 minutes to do the 2 stages a lot of the time. So I'm thinking of doing that, splitting it so it's always 2 stages per video, but maybe, and I mentioned this last year, but I never did get round to it, maybe swapping to a Tuesday for the Enterprise videos, and doing like, in line with what was on Twitter, is called Trek Tuesday. But we'll wait and see. And wait and see how often I get the parts, because that, you know, comes into it quite a bit as well. So now we got the left escape pod cover, and the right escape pod cover of the escape pod covers as shown, and secure them with the 4 DM screws. So let's get the DM screws ready. So yeah, I always like to ask, what have people been up to lately? It always feels a bit weird me asking that now, when I've literally recorded a video last night. It feels like I've asked in very short succession, but there's always a time difference between me putting these out. So yeah, what have people been up to? This morning, I was going to record this morning, but I was out all morning, actually. Me and my partner decided, well, we didn't decide, we've been wanting to for a while, ever since we saw it announced. She was brought up, her dad got her into the Ray Harryhausen films, and they're doing an exhibition in Scotland, and it's been on for a while, and we wanted to go away, I think back in like 2020, but then, you know, everything happened. So we didn't really feel brave enough to go, or really have a desire to go, until things had calmed down. But it's actually finishing this month there. It's in like the Scottish Gallery of Modern Art. So we booked tickets to go, and we went this morning, and it was brilliant. I mean, I'm not as familiar with his films as she is. I was never brought up with them. I think, as I've mentioned before here, numerous times, I was brought up with Star Trek. You know, that was my thing growing up. I was brought up with Star Trek Next Generation and Voyager, and, you know, later on we'd explore Deep Space Nine and the other films, but that was always my thing. But she was brought up, her dad really liked the Harryhausen films. So she's shown me a couple of them. I've seen bits and pieces. I've seen Jason and the Argonauts, which is I really enjoyed that. I've seen one of the Sinbads. I've seen most of Clash of the Titans. So I'm keen to watch more. I'm genuinely keen to watch more, but it's just, I'm really bad for getting around to watching films. God, these screws are pretty fiddly. I'm really bad for getting around to watching films. I think I've mentioned that before, but yeah, so we went to see that, and they had all the models there that he used for animating, you know, the skeletons, the hydras, the kraken, the just wealth of models and stuff that he had used throughout his career, and it was very inspiring to see. It was, you know, brilliant. It's kind of a shame I'm talking about it now, really, given that it's going, but yeah, I really, really enjoyed it there. I thought it was brilliant. It was just sort of I think, even for someone who wasn't as familiar with the films, getting to see that piece of, like, history, and it's a very important history for anyone who enjoys media, because, you know, these films that he made, these models, these bits of animation, inspired so much. And, you know, much as I think, like, a work like Star Trek inspired so many people, and indeed, you know, and because it was mentioned at the exhibition, something like Star Wars inspired lots of people. I think sometimes when you're a fan of it, especially nowadays, you forget the impact these things do have, especially when it seems so primitive compared to now. Like, you can look at the original Star Trek, and I've been guilty of this, and I go, oh god, the acting is so, like, hokey, and the effects look bad, but you forget for the time that there was probably nothing really like it. And, you know, the acting was fine because it was contemporary with the time, and the plots were what they were and all this. And it was the same with, like, his films. Yeah, the animation doesn't look amazing compared to the fluidness of now, but in a way, and this isn't to get into, like, modern films using CG is bad and all that, because I think there's a lot of, like, you know, modern examples of CG and stuff that are wonderful. I mean, I work in game development, so, you know, I can't not, you know, I've got to say, that, you know, CG's made lovingly, and, you know, modern animation, but there's a heart and soul to it, that, and a passion behind it that you see, that sometimes you don't necessarily see with more modern uses of CG. And it's the same with Star Trek, like, you know, and this is a good example with these videos. We're building a model of the Enterprise D, which is based on the actual real-life model of the Enterprise D. There was an actual model of it. It's not, you know, it wasn't a CGI effect in there. And like I said, it's not to say that CGI is bad. It's just sometimes the practical effects are really awesome and have that heart and soul. So, while I've been rambling, we've now screwed that down. So what we want to do is we want to get and I'm kind of nervous about this bit because it's another fiddly light and wire situation. But what we want to do, we want to identify the front formation light on the main saucer build, fit the formation light lens over the bulb, then we want to insert it into this, and then we want to attach this to the saucer frame. So, let's go get the saucer. So one thing I forgot to do that I did mention I was going to do in this video is I did not get CR2032 batteries. Now, there's one thing you can blame for that, and it's not me, it's not my forgetfulness. I'm innocent in this, even though I forgot. You can blame Asda. For anyone from America who doesn't know, why not America, anywhere else in the world who isn't aware, Asda is a supermarket in the UK. Right? They're a supermarket, and the reason you can blame them is because yesterday I put in an order with Asda. This is the most mundane story ever, I don't even know why I'm telling this. I put in an order with Asda, and I asked for it to arrive at 2 o'clock, between 2 and 4 today, because I knew we would be out at this exhibition. So I thought, okay, we'll go to the exhibition, and we'll come back, and that's our shopping sorted. You know, sensibly. Oh, that fit pretty fine. So yeah, now it's came off, because I've got sweaty fingers. There we go. Right, that's on again. So we got that sorted. And this morning we went to the exhibition, as mentioned, and we bloody get there, and I get a message from Asda. Oh, your order is due to be delivered within like an hour. For God's sake. So yeah, we ended up not rushing around, but I had to contact them to get it sorted, and then by the time we finished in there, I thought, well, they've said it's going to be delivered within half an hour, so we had to get back quickly. Just quite irritating, but it is what it is, as they say. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to flip this over. Oh. Let me just adjust my light. Right, that's flipped over. So what I want to do now... Make sure that's sorted there. So this is where it gets a bit awkward now. I don't know if you can see that well. But what I've got to do... Yeah, I knew that was going to happen. So we've got to fit the light with the bulb in still in there. I think what I'm actually going to do for this bit is I'm going to do it while it is still on this side. I don't really see why I need to do it from the underside anywhere. I can kind of see why now, actually. It's in pretty solid now. Okay, I'm just going to have to get that out. Yeah, I knew this bit was going to be a little bit awkward, but I didn't... Oh! Right, that's fallen out. Okay, what I'm going to do, I'm going to quickly just jump cut here so you don't just waste, like, valuable time of watching me mess about here. But we'll come back when that is in. So see you in just a moment. Alright, welcome back everyone. We finally got it sorted. It took quite a bit of effort to get that on there. It was not the easiest thing in the world, which makes me kind of nervous for when we come to do it around the rest of the saucer, if I'm being honest with you. But as you can see, it's now there. We now have the light in there, so I'm just going to quickly show you and give it a test. Oh. There we go. I don't know why that didn't work, but there you go. I'll turn off the light there so you can see a bit better. So we've got the lights there, and the strobe. Well, the point light is now in there like that. And what I can do, that battery pack doesn't really sit down, but if we flip it, there you go. You can see that, and you can see around. Oh, there you can see there that it is on, and also you can hopefully see it there as well. So yeah, that's the end of another stage. Not exactly the easiest one there. It was only like 2 pages or so, but it was fiddly, as we probably expected it to be. So let's get on now to stage 62. See you in a minute. So let's begin stage 62, and just before I do start, I just want to say with stage 61, I know a few people do watch these videos to kind of see how I do it, maybe before they have a go or look for advice. The only advice I'll give you here is, when it comes to attaching this one, make sure these two are aligned properly. So make sure there's no kind of gaps here, and you minimise it as much as possible. And just be patient. Again, it's our favourite word when it comes to this model, patience. Take your time with it. Don't rush it. That's kind of why I will do them jump cuts, where I'm going to go away and try and figure this out, because I feel like when it's being recorded all the time, because I'm not an expert with this, I might rush it and mess something up. So I like to take a bit of time away to analyse it and come back with it fully done, because I'd rather show the model done and then talk about any difficulties I had. So just be patient with it. It won't break. There's no major issues here. Just, yeah, take your time. Like Jim Bourne used to say in episodes of Bullseye, take your time. And I just stood on a screw on the floor. Don't do that. So, as you can see, I've left the saucer out for stage 62, because I'm going to need it. But we're going to install 4 more lights in the saucer section before starting to construct the main body of the battle section. So what we want to do, we want to plug the power connector 62D into the socket marked in 1 on saucer PCB 1. Thread its cable under saucer PCB 2 as shown. So we've got our cables here. So we've got 1, 2, 3, 4 lights. There's no significance to Star Trek at all with 4 lights, is there? Not that I can think of. Nah, nothing. So what we're going to want to do, so we're going to want to take this, and we're actually going to want to unplug the battery box from where it is on in 1. So that'll be, if this is what I think it's going to do, that'll be quite handy. That means I don't have to swing that around anymore. So I'm going to pop this into in 1. Now let me just double check that is the right one. It is the top one. Now the main problem here now is actually getting your fingers in. Actually, I don't know how I'm going to do into, or one of that final remaining PCB part there, so whatever, we'll get to it when we get to it. So what I want to do now, thread it under PCB2 as shown. So that's PCB2. So we want to put the cable in like that. Then we want to make it go... God, that is that under or round? I wonder. I don't think it is. I think it's just under it like this. There are so many cables now. Yeah, I think it's just under it like that. It doesn't really matter too much, but it should come up like that. And then I think that's going to make it much easier to connect the battery box now. Now, prepare all 4 ventral LEDs for fitting in steps B and C by splitting the cables as shown. So we did this with this particular one here, if you remember from the last video. We kind of took the LEDs and we splayed them like 90 degrees each way. But then what we're going to do, we're going to take one of them, slot the bulb. Okay, I can see the notches now. And then we're going to want to pin them down like that. Okay, so let's take the first one. So what I'll do is I'll demonstrate the first one, then I think we'll just do a jump cut for the rest, because that's going to be a bit tricky. But what we're going to do is just get them like that. So as you can see, so we've splayed them like that. So they're at a 90 degree. So there's a lot of noise outside my window all of a sudden, it's a bit distracting. So then what it says is take that, slot it into the notch closest to the centre of lower skeleton 4 and thread the cables through. So I'm just trying to see where this is in relation to the ship. I can see it now. So it is in fact, let's tuck you under there. So it's here. Then what we're going to want to do is just thread that through like this. And pop it in there like that. Is that right? Yeah, it is. It's awkward because it makes it look as if the gap is big enough for the light to just sit in there snugly, but in actual fact it's actually kind of not. It's just a little bit the wrong size. Just it feels a little bit bigger, is what I'm trying to say. So you can see the kind of difficulty I'm having here is that it's just not sitting in there nicely. It's kind of a little bit awkward, but there, we got it. So then what we want to do, we'll just leave it where it is. and then we want to plug it into PCB 2 on a B socket, which is one of the ones along here. And they've picked what looks to be the third one along. So yeah, I'll do one of these on camera, and then we'll do the rest like as a follow-up later. There we go. Right, that's in. What's that one? What is this? That looks like that's actually fallen out. I reckon. Oh, now the dog upstairs barking. It's all going off at the moment. There, that's in fine now. We don't need to worry about that anymore. So the next step is to cover the bulb with the left LED bracket 62A and secure it down. Okay, so the next thing to notice, I don't know if it'll show up that well on this, these up here have an L and an R. Very important to notice that. We want an AM screw, and we have one of them left over from the last step. So what I want to do is just fit that. Fit that in there like that. Then we want to take the AM screw, pop it in there. Oh, that wasn't going in at all, was it? There we go, now we've got it. So, yeah, this is weird. This is quite a difficult bit, but you're gonna, again, just patience, take your time with it, and eventually you'll get there. And then once it's in, well, I won't be able to test it right now because I've unhooked the battery box, but once it's in, you should have your light just kind of sat there snugly. I don't think that's in perfectly. In fact, I can see it's not, so I'm going to correct that off camera. But I'll join you in a few minutes when I've got through the rest of them. Alright, so we are back and we are in the final stages of today's build. Now, I made a mistake. I reused one of the screws that was lying about from beforehand because I thought it was an AM screw, but it was actually not. So that actually was causing me a bit of difficulty, but we've got the 4 lights in there now. So 1, 2, 3, 4. They were quite easy to pop in, a little bit fiddly because, you know, you're trying to hold the light in place and you're trying to hold the cover in place, but not too bad. And I'll show you it all lit up. Turn that light off. So we got 1, 2, 3, 4. So yeah, it's getting there. So now we are on to the final part of today's video. So let me just move the saucer out of the way. Oh. There we go. And let me get the final part that we need, which is the base. Oh. This is the battle section upper bracket. Which looks like that. And this is a very short bit. But as you can see, we're moving forward with the major part here. What we're going to want to do, I'll turn my light back on, identify the battle section upper bracket and the bracket support rods, of which there are 2. Take one rod, fix it to the bracket from beneath using a BM screw. I'll be very happy to see the back of a screwdriver today because I'm learning that the ones that they provide are not very comfortable, and I've actually got a horrible blister on my thumb now. So I'm in a bit of pain, actually. I've never came out of doing one of these builds and being in pain, but yeah, there you have it. I'm in pain. Woe is me. Send sympathy. Tell you what, actually, sympathy, likes, and comments. That'll sort me right out. Look at me. Right, so we're just gonna fix these on here. Now this is gonna be. I remember doing this for the skeleton. Actually, the saucer skeleton. It wasn't the easiest thing in the world because it's just awkward holding one thing in place while you are, trying to balance it. Tell you what we can do, actually. Yeah, can we do that? We actually... Bit of a cheating method for it. So what I've done is I've propped the screw up underneath, and what I'm going to do is I'm going to just see... I don't think I can. No, that's not going to work, is it? I was going to see if maybe I could get away with doing that, but I cannot. This is the hurdle we fall on, everyone. There we go. We got it now, finally. See if we can get the other screwdriver, see if that may be. No, that doesn't seem to help at all. Problem is that is always wanting to turn. And there doesn't really seem to be any way of stabilizing it. Yeah, there's no way of stabilizing it so it won't turn as we're trying to pop it in, which is really weird. Yeah, I'm not quite sure what to do here. Just gonna have to hold it in place. Ow. This goes back to what I said earlier on in the video about the parts that seem the easiest are more often than not the most awkward. Tell you what I'll do. See if this helps at all. I'll use a tea towel to grip it. There you go. Right. So there's a little bit of advice that I can pass along for you for this bit. Get a tea towel to grip it. Use a tea towel. Classic. So we're going to do the same for the next bit. We're going to get another... We're going to drop the BM screw down there, which is unfortunate, but I have another one prepped. And we're just gonna what we're going to do, we're going to hold it in place like that. So the hardest thing here really is getting it in position. But once you've got it, it's fine. They're both on now. We can say goodbye to the tea towel. Thank you very much for your service. Handy for more than just drying dishes. And then the final bit is we're just going to pop the circuit board, the PCB, onto the battle section itself. And this is hopefully the easiest thing we've done today. Just sit it there like that. One, two, three, four. One, and we're going to do one in that corner, one in this corner, one here, and we're going to, for every single one, we're going to tighten it a little bit more. That one's fully tight now. That one's fully tight now. That one's done. Final one. And there we have it. That's the start of the battle section. So, today we've grafted another part onto the saucer, set up quite a few more lights on the base of the saucer, and made a start on the battle section skeleton. So, that brings us to the end of issue 16. Just want to say thank you all very much for taking the time to watch this. Hope you enjoyed it. Please do leave a like, please do leave a comment. Feel free to share the video around if you're part of any Star Trek communities, any sort of Star Trek subreddits, share it there. Let me know what you think, let other people know what you think, and I'll see you again shortly for issue 17. Goodbye.